Aloha mai kako. My name is David Lassner, and I serve as the president of the University of Hawaiʻi, leading our 10-campus system and our flagship University of Hawaiʻi at Manoa. We serve these islands, which are the ancestral home of the Kanaka Maoli, or Native Hawaiian people. My own ancestry involves centuries of wandering, but I am now privileged to make my home in lush Waiomau within Palolo Valley, in the Ahupua'a of Waikiki, within the Moku of Kona on the island of Oahu. I am personally grateful to this place and her people, both of which have embraced me for over 4 decades. Over 125 years ago, Queen Liliuokalani yielded the Hawaiian Kingdom and these territories under duress and protest to the United States to avoid the bloodshed of her people. And it was nearly 30 years ago that the U.S. government formally apologized for this act, which it has acknowledged as an illegal overthrow. As the only public institution of higher education in Hawaii, the University of Hawaii is strategically clear in our commitment to become a model Indigenous serving institution, committed to the sustainability of Hawaii's people, islands, language, culture, and knowledge. This strategic imperative is named Hawaii Papaokeao, or the Hawaii Foundation of Enlightened Knowledge. So today I welcome you all, and I offer up an invitation to join us in celebrating the University of Hawaii's ongoing contributions to the advancement of Indigenous Hawaiian knowledge. Mahalo.
Aloha mai kako. I am Mainette Kapiahiokalani Patakinani Benham, Chancellor of the University of Hawaii West Oahu and co-chair of Hawaii Papaokeao, with Chancellor of Maui College, Dr. Louis Hokoana. Hawaii Papaokeao was established in January 2012 and consists of representatives from all 10 campuses. The purpose of this presidentially appointed committee is to set goals and objectives to address the higher education needs of Native Hawaiians through 3 pathways: leadership development, community engagement, and Hawaiian language and cultural parity. At our first meeting this school year, our discussions focused on how our Native Hawaiian students, faculty, and staff, and their families were managing this challenging time. Committee members shared that folks on their campus were feeling isolated, disconnected, and depressed due to the psychosocial, emotional, and economic impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. So we asked, what could Hawaii Papaokeao do? And after some discussion led by Tapori Tangaro, representative from Hawaii Community College, we decided that we wanted to address Indigenous well-being through the nourishment that can be found in the abundant talent and knowledge across our campus communities. Hence, the birth of the inaugural Hawaii Papaokeao series, He Ukana Aloha Kā Kīlauea. Mahalo for joining us today, and we hope to see you and your family and friends every month through June of 2021 as we lovingly share this makana with you. E nā nea kākou I ka ike kupuna I ho'owili ai mai ki kilo mai. Enjoy and be enriched by the wisdom passed down from our kupuna through so many generations to us today. Aloha.
No tihi lawe te aloha la hanali oka ke le tamoana la hana holoma mua holoma ho pela hana taupono tai hui tamatahani la hana haeo mai ki la hue ala hana taua he ahe ia I taili tai la hana hakinu a kauahi I te tai la hana no mea e kaui la malaha halo la hana maho mai Kamehameha Elima.
Noho tauai tumalai, ho tu pele mai te ti. Noho te ti a pele mai, a ta pua o toi. Tamai mai pele mai i leila, ta ia hua ta ia pele, a ta lai a ele leivi. Te ni te alau kala. O ka leua mo ka ulele a tātui a pele mai hai ala hai ai he tuna nare na ulena he te papeleuhi he alau no ki lau e eli taume eli taume uanoa.
Ai, aloha kākou, mahalo ko o hiki ana mai. E Hawaii and whoever else is from the world that have come, we want to thank you. I am Taupuri Tangaro, and I am a professor of Hawaiian Studies here at Hawaii Community College. Is my home campus, but I service all 10 campuses within the university system, using Hula as a foundation to grow capacity, leadership capacity, so that indigenous people can be in all levels of leadership. And I'm beginning here in Hawaii. So mahalo. Before I go on, I have a board over there with all the things I gotta do. Okay. And number 2 is my name and where I'm from. Number 3, I have to say aloha to my mo'opuna. I have 3 mo'opuna. So taule he mehani, aloha. Tawe, eia no papa. Nakapuahi, te maka ohua. Aloha. This is Papa. Oh yeah, and then my youngest daughter Tuhi. She's 18 years old, but she still qualifies for the special aloha. What am I doing here? Okay, I'm a Hula person. Grew up in Hula, and at age 19 I began formal halau training with Halau Kekuhi here in Keaukaha, Hawaii. The tradition that I have the opportunity to foundation all my creations upon is a very, very old tradition that connects us to the volcano, to Pele. And so I bring that energy forward. But, I got up a while back, and, in my sleeping loft, I have my kuahu hula. So in Uniki, they give you a lama. So it's there. So if I go to sleep, I talk to Laka, and sometimes she talked to me during my sleep, and then sometimes she give me good pointers. So one day I got up and I was in my dream, I said, I remember as a child, people coming into the Ko'olaupoka region. I'm from Kahalu'u, Waiahole, Ka'alaia, and Oahu. That's where my formative years were spent. And there were people coming into that area, people we didn't know, and they were dancing in schools, dancing at the Ulumau village, dancing at family events. And, there was magic that was transferred between that generation and children my age. I suspect not all children, but you only need 1 or 2 or 3 children in an experience to continue that particular kind of stimulation. So I woke my wife up, Kikuhi. So what if we could just pack up our bags and we would just, visit people's neighborhoods and just go to the house and chant and dance for them. I want to give the kids stories. I want them to remember what it was like when somebody just came and danced. It's like those old myth stories we have where people just appeared from nowhere and they brought something to the community. And then of course my wife, she's quite doting, but in this case she says, maybe you could think about that one for a little while. So what am I doing here? When there was an opportunity to contribute energy, contribute aloha to our communities that are now isolated, full-time, part-time, doesn't matter. We have never been isolated like this before in our living memories. And so, so this is, you know, our aloha is a little strained. You know, you see the tutu in a store and you just gotta, oh, aloha from far, you know. After a while, it feels a little odd. So we did decide, a number of us, why don't we contribute our stories? Why don't we visit people's homes and bring our stories and our dances and our tradition and just share that energy. Nothing committal, just sharing what we have and enjoying that we have enough energy and aloha to bring into people's homes so we feel less isolated, less alone. And yeah, so this is it. Then, you know, this morning I got up and I looked at my kuahu. I said, you know, Laka, remember that discussion we had about me visiting people's houses? And I didn't mean via Zoom. But in any case, this is what we have and this is what we'll do. This set of dances, there are 14. Today I'll share with you only a little, half of that, and on the 28th of this month, 2 Wednesdays from now, I'll be sharing the other half. They're a set, it's a repertoire. It's all hula noho, sitting dances. And they're actually the curriculum that's going to be used to bring professional development, cultural professional development to our faculty, staff, admin here in the university system. You know, we have a lot of hula people in the university system. And oftentimes, you know, people think we're only good for stage. You know, hula is only good for stage and entertainment. And when there's a conference, oh, let's have a little aloha and I'll chant it. But hula can serve as a strong foundation for leadership in professions, in communities, in families. Our whole basis of our hula pele is founded on Hi'iaka's journey. So we have in our repertoire of hula is a hero's journey, a process where one starts here and really achieves their greater potential. And we have this in hula. So this repertoire is for that. I only have less than 2 hours today and next 2 weeks from now to share with you a repertoire that was really intended to be part of a 2-year process, maybe a 1-year process. But so I want to just share with you a little bit of the song and how we use the song to grow considerations. Yes, we use hula to teach language. Beautiful foundation to teach language. Use hula to look at culture, you know, the mores of Hawaii's indigenous culture, yes. We use hula to look at our history. Great. We want to use hulas to also develop leadership. Discussions, bring an awareness of leadership through hula. And so this is what we do. And so I curated this. I just chose songs that were standard. We call stock dances. You find them in many halau. Some of the expressions are rare today, and so it would be for a number of you. I suspect this would be the first time you will be seeing this kind of presentation. These dances are all newly choreographed from traditions of from traditional choreographic culture. So. We choreograph anew because, you know, we don't mind passing on the chant, but, you know, the choreography actually belongs to a particular halau. So we have to create new kinds of choreographies that allow us to share it in moments, situations like this. So the first chant that I did, I'm talking fast because I'm watching this clock stay going like this. Okay, so the first chant I did, Holomai Pele, coming in and holding the halale. Well, there's a number of things happening here. Our stories tell us that Pele on her way to Hawaii, her canoe got stuck in a hala root. She pulled that tree out and then she threw it and it landed here in Hawaii. And look, now we can wear the hala. And so we do that to honor Pele's migration. But also, and we do this. This is some of our dances, and you don't see too often, where we actually formally present the lei, dedicate the lei, and then we put the lei on. But in this particular presentation, the lei doesn't come on the dancer more than the dancer comes up into the lei. What does that have to do with leadership, community well-being, family health? Well, sometimes there are challenges, or maybe I should say there are opportunities. There are opportunities, and not all the time opportunities will come upon our shoulders. Sometimes we actually have to rise up into the opportunity. So, although this chant will take months and months to discuss, and we create actions, and we assess those actions, and we look at those actions in student success. If I was to share with you one important feature of this song, it reminds us that sometimes the lei is there, but your head is here. Not all the time the lei will be given to you. Sometimes you need to rise up into it. Now, isn't that an important message? I think perhaps I went in that direction because sometimes I myself, sometimes a little bit reluctant, yeah? Because once you wear a lei, you become committed. That's the other thing. Indigenous leadership. You cannot just wear the lei and be all good about it. Somebody give you a lei, that means there's something else, that there's an exchange. So there's a lei. The other thing is hala. And the hala for us is medicinal. It reminds us that we have the power to wish negativity away. So collectively as a community, let's say goodbye to this pandemic. We've learned from it. And I think like my granddaughter likes to say, Papa, pre-COVID-19. To her, she has a memory of pre and current. So let's make it a past tense. So it is an honor to wear all of this hala from Panaeva, the hala that was planted by Pele, the hala that sometimes we have to raise ourselves up to understand the deeper meaning of the things that we inherit. This next chant is an interesting one. And it's one of Pele. She's journeying down the islands. Pele for us comes from Kahiki. She comes from outside of the horizon, and she comes into the consciousness that is Hawaii. And we have a number of chants. This chant takes us to Hu'e. So some chants say Pele started up north and landed up in Mauna Loa, Moku Aveo. This chant says it ended up in Hu'e. So I think this is a Hu'e family origin chant. And but luckily it was shared, and we have the opportunity to share it with you. But it's a simple chant. I love it because it just repeats itself. Repeat itself. It has a pattern, so it's easy to learn. And by the time I pile all the islands, you're probably going to learn this chant. Sometimes I kind of linger on one island a little bit too long. I forget, like I always linger on Oahu too long. Maybe I'm a little bit biased because that's where I'm from. And then I forget some islands. If I forget any of the islands, I'll do it for you at another time. But the great thing about this chant is Pele is digging her crater. She comes with a pa'oa stick and she's digging the craters because her mission, she has a huge purpose. She's inherited the fire of her family. And her sole job is to find the environment to sustain that fire and to grow that fire. So she comes and she goes to Ni'ihau, to Kauai, Oahu, Molokai, Lanai, Maui. And I should never go Kaho'olawe because maybe Kaho'olawe was still attached to Maui at the time of this chant. And then she finally ends up at Hu'e on our west side of the island, and there she establishes her fire. But in this chant, it describes what Pele does. And then out of nowhere, the great god Wakea says, who is this digging Ovaine Akua Eline? Who is this digging pukas all over the islands? And Pele answers in the arrogance that is such her character. It gives me pitter-patter, that arrogance does. But in any case, she says, Ovau no Pele, I am the one that's digging the crater. Ovau no Pele, Nana I Eliaku Kalua, and she names where she digs the crater. So she says, I am Pele, and then in the third person, she says, it is she who is digging these craters. After I part of dance, I'll tell you where the value is for me in how it transports into leadership development. Okay, are you ready? Okay. Okay, I have people here so you guys can just jump in anytime. They all get the kind of like this on, so sometimes you only see their eye, a little bit hard to, but here we go, new days. This is called a hula kuolo, yeah? A style of dancing with the ipu. Elwai kaikina waena e pele ne o bauno pele na na ia ku kalua I kawai a he lua I kawai wai na e pele ke haolo e la te lele na ina I la o ta pe ta o I la o mea kea anina o akea o vai nei a kua e lige o bauno pele nana I eli a ku kalua I o ahua he lua I o ahu wai na e pele ke haolo e la te lele na ina I la o ta pe ta o I la o mea ke anina o akea o vai nei a kua e lige o bauno pele nana I eli a ku kalua I mo kai a he lua I mo kai wai na e pele ke haolo e la te lele na ina I la o ta pe ta o I la o mea ke nina o akea o vai nei a tua e lige o bauno pele nana I eli a ku kalua I ana I a he lua I ana I wai na e pele ke haolo e la te lele na ina I la o ta pe ta o I la o mea ke nina o akea o vai nei a tua e o bauno pele nana I eli a ku kalua I maui a he lua I maui wai na e pele ke haolo e la te lele na ina I la ta pe ta o la o mea ke nina o akea o vai nei a tua e eli nei o bauno pele nana I eli a ku kalua hue a he lua I hue wai na e pele ke haolo e la te lele na ina I la o ta pe ta o I la o mea ke eli te lumai eli noa eli te lumai eli noa amama wanoa amama wanoa hei noa noa ia kai ka puli au pele you know how to do Pele dances without losing one's breath and sweat. That is part of the tradition of the hula Pele, at least in the line of the Kanaka Ole, that we dance to the point where we're sweating. Because the sweat, we call the ho, is what nourishes, that's the water we get from the atmosphere that runs through our body, and in sweat, especially in sweat that is derived from ritual or in service to a community, that sweat is sanctified sweat. And that's the purpose of our existence, is to sweat for our most ancient people. That's our land, our mountains, our seas, our land, the landscape, and beyond that, the big wakea above and beyond. So, about this chant, there's one thing I like about this chant, is the dialogue that happens between two deities, Wakea and Pele. Now again, Pele comes from the outside, and she has a purpose, and she begins her purpose. And talk about persistence. Persistence in leadership, sometimes we want to give up the first bad wave we get. We want to turn the canoe around and go home. You know, the first challenge we get, we're ready to in our journey, we're ready to embrace the supporters and the nice people. As soon as a mo'o or a manoa shows up, oh, we're ready for get off the canoe, or get off the journey. But Pele is persistent. She was not successful. If she was successful in Niihau, they would be dancing this. But she moved down to Kauai. Did I miss any island? I hope I never missed any island. But she was moving down, and finally she ended up in Hu'ehue. But each time that she dug a crater, she had to account. There was an accounting. Wake is our big God, our big consciousness. And the consciousness asked of this deity, who are you? Who is digging here? And she says, it is I. It is she who is digging this crater in this space. that teaches, that's an important feature in leadership, especially in indigenous leadership. Because indigenous leadership infers we're accountable. We're accountable to the people behind us, our makua, all the way to the akua, everybody at the back of us. And our decisions are accountable also to the people before us. In fact, when we look at our mo'opuna, sometimes they're less our mo'opuna and more our kupuna. Where else they get that hair, that nose, that attitude from? You know, and so, you know, this is a great chant to remind us that, yes, let's be persistent. Let's set a vision. Let's go for it. But we have to be accountable. We have to be able to answer not just to the next human person or your supervisor or whoever leads your space. We have to be accountable to nature. That's the deity we're speaking of. Okay? All righty. And it's a great, and then the chant just gets a little bit more violent, just like a lava flow. So you gotta, even though this is one person dancing, you gotta imagine there's 1,000 of us just doing this. And then you'll get the picture. Huh? Okay, this one, akaluna pu'onioni. Am I looking at the right? And I don't have my glasses on, so you know, everything's just an interesting blur. Akaluna pu'onioni is a classic. You know, we learned it as a hula uli uli. We do it now as a hula a kuhi, just a gesturing dance. And from verse 1 to the last verse, it's all important. And again, we can build curricula and assessments and actions based on just this one song that many of us can do. But let me, for this context, let me just draw your attention to the verse. I don't know, what verse? Third verse, maybe third verse. It says, "Ma lama ike kanaka ahe pua laha ole." It simply means, you know, take care of the human person. You know, they are a rare flower. Well, what does this mean, take care of the human person? It's a rare flower. And how can we use that line to advance our personal development, our personal well-being, our contribution? If we're healthy as a parent, we can create healthy children, healthy living environments. So what does this mean? How does it apply? Well, this song is describing, you know, a whole volcanic activity, and we live on a volcanic island, so it's nothing new. We don't have to go very far to experience this. We don't have to even move. It just happens in our backyard. But then there's this one verse, then it shifts. It says, please take care of us. We are delicate. And to me, that's intriguing. And you'll see this in the choreography, because oftentimes hula people, and this is not for all hula people, but for some of you out there, this is very familiar to you. We serve as mediums. We use our bodies and we discipline our bodies, and the kumu hula, the teachers, will make sure that we work within a particular ritual parameter, because our bodies are used as mediums to channel in the energies of the kilava, kaba mamua, kilava kahiko, through our bodies in here, through our dances. I mean, if we dance a dance that's 100 years old, all those 100 years of dancers dancing this dance dances with us too. So through our bodies, we bring that energy forward. A lot of our choreography is aimed at the audience. You know, it's a lot of out here. You know, a lot of all of, you know, and then there's more awana you get, the more dramatic, but they're all out there. But there's a simple ritual, and we've been practicing it, and you may not even know we've been practicing it, but some of the motions have to come back in. Because as a medium, as a hula person, we know when we're with our kala'aus and we're just throwing everything out there, you know, we have to, it's not sustainable. Our performance is not sustainable. Our delivery, our ritual service through dance to our community is not sustainable because we've thrown everything out there. So sometimes the choreography has to be deliberately brought back in to remind us that, yes, through the dance we bless the community, but we cannot take ourselves out of that blessing. We have to be part of we have to be also receiving. This is especially an important feature in leadership for me, because I was raised by a single mother and a single parent, and I've seen this in many single parents, and you know, they just give everything, their entire existence. They're the medium that takes all these resources and they channel it into their family. That's a beautiful thing in being a parent. But is it sustainable all the time? Is there an opportunity for us to make opportunity to bring some of those energies into us? And so this song, Akaluna Pu'onioni, is a reminder, because I could have gone, Malamai ke kanakaya. Oh, let's, you know, please bless all of you. Well, I have 14 songs. 13 is blessing all of you. I need at least one to bless me. Because, you know, you know, what good am I if I cannot function? So I got to put myself into that cycle of being blessed. So let's begin. Akaluna Pu'onioni, Akaluna Pu'onioni, Ate anai naha kabahine, Kie kayaulu o vahine kapu, Ati eita yaulu o vahine kapu, E noho wana o papalauahi, Lauahi pele kai o puna, Lauahi pele kai o puna, O nea kai o malama, Malama ike kanaka, Malama hai petanaka, Ahe puala haole, Haina, Haina mai kai noa, Atuatapu o hiaka haela haela, Hei noa no hiaka i ka puli au pele. Okay. Did you guys get to see that? Malama ike kanaka. Yeah, great reminder that in the choreography, in the science of creating hula, that we have to be trained. Because if all we do is all of these motions, grand, and it's all targeting the audience, you know, part of the job of a trained kumu hula is to always keep the spirit of the dancer protected and well balanced. And sometimes that comes in the form of the choreography. So as we choreograph the lives of our children, we also have to choreograph within the dance of our family's life the ability to feed the community, take care of the community, but also make sure that if four going out that way, at least one come back in this way. And sometimes nobody's going to give it to us. Sometimes we have to make sure that when the fish is running, and we catch the fish and we feed the whole village, you know, feed the whole village. Because in the feeding, guess what? One day, somebody's going to come and bring fish to you. So sometimes it comes in that way. Alrighty, what is this next one? Akaluna Hoipuna. Oh, what do I like about Hoipuna? Well, it's a paddle dance. That's what I like about it. We don't see much. We learned a stand-up paddle dance. But, you know, something about sitting down. I think I'm celebrating sitting down because I still can. You know, there's a time when hula noho means I'm going to have to be on a stool. Then I begin to elevate. I guess you elevate up into the lei. Yeah, you stand up chair, and then before you know it, you can only stand up. So, but this song is called Hoipuna. And there's this particular line, Hanan eki kala kohilokini. Yeah, and the motion looks like this. Hana ne'e. Oh, yeah, so it goes, Hana ne'e kikala kohilokini. That means to stir the hip of Hilo's people. Well, what does that mean? Well, Kamehameha, you still have Kamehameha, where the statue is now, it's called Pi'o. And that was the palace grounds of Kamehameha Ekahi and his predecessors. But whenever the paramount king came into residence, people breathed differently. people act differently. The energies were more, there was, oh, if the individual existed, it didn't exist when that king came because everybody had to work as a strong community. Hanane e kikala, I don't want to use my, sometimes I can use my hygienic store English language to communicate this, but it might not be proper. But you can look them up in a dictionary, hanane e kikala, you know, it really means to kind of, hanane, stir those hips, get it to move, kikala. That's the poetic way of saying activate, animate, don't be lethargic. This is not the time to be lethargic. Isn't it an interesting time? This pandemic is not our ali'i, but it's requiring that we begin to animate and we not become lethargic, that we all do our share not to get affected and also not affect other people. So this chant even means a whole lot more. Hanan e kikala. I always like that line because sometimes I like to just take myself out of the energy and just go in my little zone. But this line always brings me back to the collective. So let's do it. No, that's not Hole Waime. This is Hoi Puna. Hoi Puna I ka ba pololo ka ino hei na lai hala koko lau e hai ke kui kui aka ubanu. Hala I ka makawalu I ke e aku lao I ka pau kua ka aba. Hana ne ki ka ko hino kini. Ho ilu I ke oni au hana kai ka pololo ka hino ka lua. Ho! Hoi Puna I ka ba pololo aka ino haule ina lai hala. O ko lau e hala e hai ke kui ata umano hala I ka makawalu I he ake ai o kua kula o I ka pau kua ka aba hana ne kikala ko hiro kini ha ilu ulu o I ke one au hana tahi ka polo ko hiro ka lua oh yeah okay. So sometimes, yeah, you just gotta stir. You have that kind of child that just, you know, the whole canoe, the whole car going that way, but you have one child that always gotta linger. Everybody going left, but that one child goes right. Yeah. I used to be that child. So this kind of paddle dance is really good. Stir my way in the right direction. Now, this next chant, Hole Waime, is interesting. I should be dancing it. It's a hula ihe. I should actually be dancing it with glasses on. Because, you know, it's really not sexy. So I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to dance this song without my glasses. Okay, I'll do that. Enough said. But why don't I dance the song first, and then I'll tell you, just look for this motion. Okay? Look for this motion, because that's an important motion. Hole mai me ki hia ka makani hamai na le ki pupu hela ka le hi na ke no I o kana ile o mai ke ku ku lai ka mangane ti pupu no ka mako ko hawai uli ni e ka pu ko e hai ke kana hele o wai kai o ya hai I o na ka puai mo puna. This is for you. Go grab your ear. You can dance with Papa, okay? Hale ka makawalu I hia ke ai ku ku lai ka pau ku ka ba ana ne ke wrong chant. What is this? Hole mai this hole mai me. Yeah. Alo wai ka yau me hei pola kana hele o wai kai o ya I hele pa hole wai mea I ka ihe a ka makani han mai na ale a te ti pupu hela o kala I ana te anu I o I tana hele o mai hiki aha ku I ka mala nai te ti pupu nolu ka maka o ka o Hawaii au I nini eu eha ka pua o ko wai eha I ke anu kana hele a o wai taha e ahe aloha e aloha wai ta iau mehei poala kana hele a o kolau wa o ia I hela pa o I hela pa no kamehameha. Okay. Oh, that was some close calls on some of those. But in any case, I do it perfect in the shower. All hula in the shower is perfect. But in any case, you get the main gist of this ihe. We're trained to do stand-up dances. but it's a different sensation when you bring that stand-up dance back to the floor. Okay, but we can talk about that later on. This motion, this motion, mahiki means to jerk up, but in this song it's a place, in Waimea area. But mahiki means to jerk up, and this motion comes from a story of a young man who was although very mature in his domestic world. He joined halau, and the halau was introducing him to the large world, and he was green. He had no clue. His kumuhula had to become more than just a person to teach hula. The kumuhula became sort of a surrogate parent, teaching them the mores, the attitudes, the cultural attitudes that wasn't always obvious outside of the family. So the story goes that this young man the halau went to go and practice, went to go and perform at a baby party. And after the party, the tradition is you got to eat. And during the eating, the teacher and her husband went to the campground, Papawai in Kona, to open up the door. And the deal was the halau dancers would meet them there, and they would camp and spend the weekend there. Well, the teacher and her husband left, and the party was going on and going on. And there was this young lad, new to this sensation, was enjoying himself, and it was just loud, and it was just, there's things, all different kinds of interesting things to drink, and it was causing different awarenesses to awaken. And then the whole party went silent. And the teacher lifted the student up the student had this lovely top knot, lift the student up like this, jerked the person up, and walked the person to the car and drove him to the campground. What does that have to do with leadership? What does that have to do with well-being? We need a community to raise our children. We cannot do it alone. We're not designed to raise our children alone. That's a foreign concept. The concept that children are the sole domain and responsibility of mother and father, that's from the outside world. Our inside world informs us that the children belong to really the grandparents and the community. And a lot of the discipline that don't come directly from the parent, they come from the aunties and the uncles, whether blooded or otherwise. This kumuhula, and as is many kumuhula, our job is not just to teach choreography. We become responsible for the continuation of a culture. And so people coming into the halau, in our hula world, they didn't care what ethnicity you were. They cared that you knew how to act Hawaiian, think Hawaiian, do things Hawaiian. That was the deal. So, this beautiful top-knotted dancer got yanked out of the party. We don't encourage physical kinds of applications these days. New generation, that's pre-COVID-19, as my grandma Opuna would say. That's the ancient days. I know this story. I was that person with the lovely top knot. It was dark back then, kind of brownish. But I got pulled out of the party. It wasn't even our halau party, it was somebody else's party. A little bit embarrassing. But I realized that my kumuhula became my teacher. My mother could teach me how to act within the family. My kumuhula taught me how to act outside of the family. So there's children out there that need you. My friends, my family. There are children, sometimes the children will need you, not their mother or their father. They'll need the uncle or they need the auntie. And oftentimes they'll need the kumuhula. And this is just a reminder. Of course, we don't do this anymore. It's a lovely motion, don't you think? But we have to take responsibility. That's our way. So how you do that is you gain trust. You cannot just do that to any stranger child. There were no stranger children in the old days. Everybody was familiar. So therefore, we could create a culture of caring for each other. So let's become familiar with our community. Let's commit to taking care of each other's children. This is what this song teaches me. What is the last one? Oh, no, I get two more. He motu no ta'ula. Oh, Edith Kanakaole is the mother of Pualani and Nalani Kanakaole, who are my hula teachers. And Edith had two hula teachers. Her primary hula teacher was Mary Kekueva, and last name was Ahi'ena. She married Kanaile, then he passed. And then she married a Japanese man, Fuji. So they used to call her Mama Fuji in Keaukaha. And they still refer to her as Mama Fuji. Mama Fuji was George Naope's first hula teacher. So she was Auntie Edith's first hula teacher. Auntie Edith had a second hula teacher. His name was Akoni Mika. And Akoni Mika was teaching in Keaukaha. A lot of his traditions came from Kauai. But he was known for his hula kala'au. So this song was actually, He Motu no Ta'ula comes from that line. Again, we're taught to us as a standing dance. I since created a sit-down version of a dance, okay, a whole new dance in sit-down version, same lyrics, same tune. But Akoni Mika had a particular way of playing this, and so this song is an important feature. You're going to see this motion. Moe no Kauai, Iluna o Kala. Kauai sleeps. Yeah, and there the sun is just above as it sets. He Motu no Ta'ula, this song describes the setting of the sun in the west. We'll talk later a bit about what does the metaphor of the setting sun has to do with us today. Okay. He Motu no Ta'ula, pa. He Motu no Ta'ula, ni o ne ni hau I ta'ulula I atawai o atane. O ta'ula na ta'ulai hawali, hala ta'ula ta'umate tua ole huai. Kau kumele hu o te ahi ahi, moe no ta'uai, iluna o ta'uai. E o na noho le huai de te. E o na noho le huai de te. He motu no ta'ula hi inoa. Oh yeah. So that style is very Akoni Mika. The song is talking about, or is describing, it's a historical account that had to do with battle and warfare. But for us today, it just describes the setting of the sun. That's a strong metaphor. We always, in our traditional greetings, we say, we greet the sun in Haʻihai, and the greeting follows the sun all the way into Lehua, into the west. We're continuously aware that we are one link of a life cycle, and that how we live today, the health that we create for ourselves and our community contributes also to the health of the ancestors from whom we descend, and contributes to the health and the strength of the people that we are to give birth. And so this song is kind of a reminder that every day the sun will go down. Every day I have an opportunity to make good decisions. That's what I like to tell my 18-year-old daughter. You have an opportunity to make a good decision today. And of course she looks at me like, yes, Dad, yes. But I know there's the inner eye that's just rolling. But yes, every day we have an opportunity to affect the well-being of our community. Every day, before the sun goes down, we have an opportunity to affect that. Isn't that a great reality? When you go into social media, it's telling us, it's doomsday. There's some truth to an element of that. It's just a perspective. But every day we have an opportunity to contribute. So this song is saying, before the sun goes down, have we created well-being? Have we contributed to our community? Okay, I have two more hulas, and I can make it. Okay. This hula is actually, I was going to present next week, or 2 weeks from now, the next class, but I want to do it now. I'm not going to tell you about it because you're going to have to come the next class. This is my maunu, my bait I just throwing out to you. Yeah, so hula, yeah? It's about maunu. You throw the bait so the fish come back and bite. Okay, so I would just do this dance. It's a little burlesque. Yeah, we had those dances too. And I want you to think about, what does that have to do with leadership? You know, answers are good, questions are better. Answers make you relax, questions make you come back. Okay, so we want you to come back. But this is done in the form of a hula lepa, and it's a hula ki'i. It's mimicking the very, the images, the carved images, very, very stiff. But it's also sometimes used to tease. What is the role of humor in our culture? Yeah, so this song reminds us of a particular kind of humor. Okay. How does it begin? I'm going to just go straight to the dancing. Okay. It's called Vevehi Keke. And then I just didn't forget the first chant to go with this because I'm a little bit nervous the clock's still going. So I'll do this next time you guys come. Guarantee it's lovely. I'll just get straight to the body of the dance. Yeah. Okay. And it's meant to be stiff. Okay, but watch really good. Vevehi Keke. You didn't get to see the last. The last posture is this. Yeah, I bet you never saw that before in hula. But in any case, here it is. Another song that goes with that. Yeah, you sing correct. So you come back, because I will tell you why was all this thrusting, why all this gesturing, what are we doing? And yeah, because you don't necessarily see that too often, those kinds of demonstrations, but it exists and there's a purpose for it, and we want to bring it forward. This last song I want to do for you is the song you've heard already, and it honors Kamehameha Elima. And what a model to follow. You know, we don't have to go very far to look for leadership models. Sometimes we're conditioned to always look outside of Hawaii for some leadership model. We're from the East Coast. No, it's good for the East Coast development. West Coast, good for the West Coast developments. We want Hawaii models. And so when we're looking for a theme to really foundation this offering, we found Kamehameha Elima. And so I encourage you to research Kamehameha Elima and what he did back then in the 1880s. What of that can we use today? What of that can we follow today, bring forward, and perhaps build actions on the things that he did? No ti lawe te aloha la nani o ka ke le tamoa na la no ma mua holo ma ho pe la na tanto no tai I kamata ni la ana he o mai kila hue ala na tan taila ahana no mea e kaui la malaha la ahana baho mai au o taihi la ahana no kamehameha e lima no leila ina kanaka I a kua mai ua hiki a kua no kako makapalena pau o keia hana o iai hoʻokahi no kino e noho nei ma ke ia moena he kino kaiaulu keia o keia kaiaulu ale wau ahe kela manao hoʻokahi no kanaka e noho ana nā nui nā kupuna e noho pu ana me ia'u no leila e like me ko noho ana I kou wahi noho pu nā kupuna me oe no leila ke aloha nui I kupu a ola ka maoli o ka Hawaiʻi ana oiwi ea e manakihi e hao ke I honua nei ea join us again as we continue what are we continuing sharing our stories nobody can take that away from us. Let's not give us reason to forget them. Let's create reasons to remember them. And yes, one day I would like to be in your area if it's a safe. And I would like to dance for your children. I'm not forgetting that dream. It's nice to see hula on stage. It's nice to see hula in the community venues. But I think it'll also be nice to be in your parlor, next to your sofa, dancing in full regalia for your children. I only need one small moment to plant that in them so that when they become this age, they can continue that contribution to the community. So again, welcome. I want to thank the University of Hawaiʻi for hosting this and the Office of President Lasner, the Hawaii Papo Keao team. What a great team to work with. It's one of those committees that it's the kind you want to come to, this kind of canoe that moves and has a lot of action. So I'm very, very fortunate to have that space. All the technical help that made this possible so I can just dance. And come back 2 weeks from now. I'm going to try to remember this dance. There's going to be a hula ilio, a dog dance. You ever seen a dog dance? Wow, that's an interesting one. And what does a dog dance have to do with leadership? Well, you got to come back to find out. There's the hula lepa. There's also a hula that is done with the pū. That's the conch shell that's honoring Pua Pua Lena Lena and the pū. And then there's also the hula mu'umu'u. That's rare these days to see. The hula mu'umu'u, the dance of the maimed spirit. What does the main spirit have to do with indigenous well-being? Well, you gotta come back. If you are in the university system and any piece of this, what was shared with you, will fit well in what you're already doing, contact me. These dances will be available to our 10 campuses. And so contact me. I'm committing my programs. I didn't even know about it, but that's all right. I bet you Gail Makua Kane London over here. Yeah, me and her, we can get things moving. Yeah, Gail. She doesn't even know about it, but we're all good. So to all of you that did come, thank you for wearing your mask. And be well. Ahui ho no kako. Bai mo opuna. No nei lo kaina te vau tulu tulua. Kua wika haalele anoho e noho apua ne ola noe.